The Galactic Council was known across the galaxy as a powerful and unyielding authority. With vast resources and control over countless planets, they had a reputation for maintaining order and enforcing their will. However, behind their veneer of civility and justice, they hid a dark side. One day, the Council made an announcement that shocked the galaxy. In a cold and calculated decision, they decreed the execution of millions of human children. The reason was as brutal as it was simple. They believed that by eliminating these innocent lives, they would break humanity's spirit and prevent any future rebellion. The Council's leaders, sitting in their grand hall, saw this as a necessary measure to maintain their dominance. News of the massacre spread quickly. Across the galaxy, screens flashed with images of the destruction and the grief-stricken faces of those affected. On Earth, the shock was immediate and profound. People everywhere were stunned into silence as the reality of the tragedy sank in. The message was clear. The Galactic Council had crossed a line that could never be undone. In cities and towns, people gathered to mourn. Memorials sprang up overnight, with candles and flowers laid out in tribute to the lost children. News anchors struggled to keep their composure as they reported the events, their voices breaking with emotion. Across the globe, leaders and citizens alike were united in their sorrow and outrage. This was not just an attack on individuals, but on the very essence of humanity. The Galactic Council's decision had not only devastated families, but had also ignited a fierce anger among humans. The reaction was swift and intense. Governments, once divided by political differences, now stood as one. They vowed to seek justice for the murdered children. Public demonstrations were held, with millions of people taking to the streets demanding action against the Council. The world was in upheaval, and the mood was one of both mourning and fury. In the midst of the chaos, key figures began to emerge. Leaders, both political and military, who had previously been in the background, now stepped forward. Among them was General Sarah Mitchell, a seasoned commander known for her strategic brilliance. She was a mother herself and felt the weight of the tragedy deeply. Her resolve was ironclad. She vowed to lead the charge against the Council and ensure that those responsible for the massacre were brought to justice. On the other side, the Galactic Council remained largely indifferent to the outcry. They viewed the human response as a temporary disturbance, believing that their power would ultimately prevail. However, there were whispers of dissent within the Council. Some members were beginning to question the wisdom of their leaders' actions. The massacre, while intended to solidify their control, was starting to unravel their grip on power. As humanity grappled with the enormity of their loss, they also began to focus on the future. The immediate response was one of unity and grief, but the seeds of revenge were also being sown. People started to think beyond the immediate sorrow, contemplating how to respond to the Council's aggression. The realization that this was not just a battle but a war for their survival began to take root. The Council's act of cruelty had not only provoked a profound sense of injustice, but had also forged a new resolve among humans. They were no longer just reacting to a tragedy. They were preparing to fight back with everything they had. The stage was set for a conflict that would test the limits of human endurance and ingenuity. The Galactic Council had underestimated the strength and resilience of humanity. Their belief that they could crush human spirit with a single horrific act had set in motion a series of events that would lead to an epic struggle. Humanity, wounded but unbowed, was ready to rise up and seek the revenge that the Council's atrocity had so callously invited. The first chapter of this new chapter of resistance was about to unfold. In the aftermath of the Galactic Council's horrific act, the human response began to take shape. The initial wave of shock and mourning had given way to a burning desire for revenge. Across Earth, people were no longer just grieving, they were planning. The world's governments and military leaders recognized that a mere reaction wouldn't suffice. They needed a well-thought-out plan to strike back at the Council and ensure that justice was served. General Sarah Mitchell, a symbol of human resolve, took charge of the operations. She convened a high-level meeting with the best minds from the military, science, and strategy. The room was filled with tension and determination. Everyone knew that this was more than a military campaign. It was a fight for survival and dignity. "We can't just react," General Mitchell stated firmly. We need a plan that will hit them where it hurts the most and show them that humanity will not be broken. The task force they formed was a blend of soldiers, engineers, and strategists. Among them was Dr. Elena Vargas, a brilliant scientist known for her work in advanced technology. She was tasked with developing new weapons and systems designed specifically to counter the Galactic Council's superior technology. Her lab was a hive of activity as her team worked day and night, pushing the boundaries of what was technologically possible. As the plans took shape, another crucial aspect was building alliances. Humanity realized that they couldn't take on the Council alone. Diplomats worked tirelessly to reach out to other alien species, many of whom were neutral or had their own grievances against the Council. Some were skeptical and cautious, but others saw the opportunity to join a cause that could shift the balance of power. One of these allies was the Thorians, a warrior race with a history of conflict with the Council. Their leader, Corin, was a fierce and respected figure. During negotiations, he listened intently to humanity's plight and recognized a shared enemy. "The Council's cruelty has crossed every line," Corin said. "We will fight with you." The collaboration was not without challenges. Different species had different customs, technology, and strategies. There were disagreements and mistrust, but the common goal of defeating the Council helped bridge these gaps. Joint training sessions and strategy meetings began to forge a strong coalition. As the Special Task Force prepared for their first major operation, the atmosphere was electric with anticipation. They had developed new technologies that would give them an edge: stealth ships that could evade Council sensors, energy shields capable of withstanding their attacks, and powerful new weapons designed to breach their defenses. The first mission was a surprise attack on a key Galactic Council outpost. This base was a hub of their operations and a symbol of their power. The plan was to strike quickly, cause maximum damage, and then retreat before the Council could mount a significant counterattack. The night before the attack, the mood among the troops was a mix of nervous excitement and grim determination. General Mitchell addressed them, her voice steady and reassuring. "Tonight we fight not just for revenge, but for our future. Show them that humanity will not be silenced." The operation was launched with precision. Stealth ships slipped through Council defenses, and the team executed their plan flawlessly. The base was hit hard, with critical systems destroyed and significant losses inflicted on the enemy. The successful operation sent a powerful message to the Galactic Council: humanity was not to be underestimated. However, the victory came at a cost. There were casualties, and the aftermath of the attack was somber. Yet, the success bolstered human morale and strengthened their resolve. They had proven that they could strike back and inflict serious damage on their oppressors. As the coalition forces regrouped, the Galactic Council's response was swift and brutal. They were determined to crush the uprising and reassert their dominance. But for the first time, they faced a coordinated and relentless opposition. Humanity had begun to turn the tide, and the Council's initial confidence was starting to wane. The dawn of revenge was upon them. The battle for justice had only just begun, and humanity's determination to fight back and reclaim their dignity was stronger than ever. With the Galactic Council's base damaged and their arrogance shaken, humanity prepared for the next phase of their campaign. The first strike was more than just a battle, it was a crucial test of their strategy and resolve. General Sarah Mitchell and her team knew that this mission could turn the tide in their favor or push them back into a desperate struggle. The plan was to target another key Council installation, one that was vital for their war efforts. This base, located on a remote planet, was crucial for the Council's communications and supply lines. Taking it out would disrupt their operations and give humanity a significant advantage. The task force assembled was the best humanity had to offer: elite soldiers, skilled engineers, and seasoned strategists, all ready for the challenge. Dr. Elena Vargas and her team had worked tirelessly to develop new technology for the operation. Among their innovations was a powerful new energy weapon that could penetrate the Council's advanced shields. This weapon, while still experimental, had shown promising results in tests. Its success would be vital to the mission. The night before the strike, the atmosphere among the troops was filled with a mix of anticipation and tension. Everyone knew the stakes were high. As General Mitchell addressed her team, her words were both a rallying cry and a promise. "Tonight we strike a blow that will echo across the galaxy." This is our chance to show the Council that humanity is not just reacting, but fighting back with purpose. We fight for every child lost, every life affected, and every future we hold dear. As the operation began, stealth ships slipped through the Council's defenses under the cover of darkness. The ships, equipped with advanced cloaking technology, approached the target undetected. The plan was to launch a surprise attack, hit hard and fast, and then retreat before the Council could fully respond. The first wave of attack began with a sudden burst of energy beams, tearing through the base's defenses and causing chaos. The energy weapon, guided by precise calculations and targeting, was unleashed. It cut through the Council's shields and struck critical systems, causing massive explosions and widespread damage. The base's communication and supply systems were disrupted, throwing the Council's operations into disarray. The battle was intense. Council forces, caught off guard and struggling to mount an effective defense, were overwhelmed by the speed and ferocity of the attack. Human soldiers, coordinated and determined, fought with precision and efficiency. Their new technology proved its worth, giving them a clear edge in the fight. Despite the success, the mission was not without challenges. The Council quickly regrouped and launched a counterattack. The once covert operation turned into a fierce battle as the Council's reinforcements arrived. The human forces, though initially successful, faced heavy resistance as they fought to complete their objectives and withdraw. Amid the chaos, the task force's courage shone through. Soldiers displayed remarkable bravery, holding the line against overwhelming odds to ensure that the mission's primary objectives were met. Their training and preparation paid off as they managed to inflict significant damage on the base before beginning their withdrawal. The retreat was just as crucial as the attack. The team had to navigate through hostile territory and evade pursuing Council forces. The return journey was fraught with danger, but the coordination and discipline of the team ensured their safe escape. When the task force finally regrouped, the sense of achievement was palpable. The strike had been a resounding success, causing significant disruption to the Council's operations. However, the cost of victory was evident. The casualties and the damage to the team were reminders of the high price of war. The Galactic Council's response was swift and brutal. They began a large-scale offensive to regain control and retaliate against humanity's audacity. The Council's forces were more determined than ever to crush the rebellion and restore their dominance. For humanity, the first strike was a critical moment of triumph and a clear indication that their fight was far from over. They had shown their ability to strike effectively, but they also faced the reality of a fierce and relentless enemy. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but humanity's resolve to fight for justice and survival was stronger than ever. The battle had only just begun, and the first strike was a crucial step in a long and challenging war. After the successful but costly first strike, the conflict between humanity and the Galactic Council reached a critical juncture. The Council, enraged by the recent attacks, launched a fierce counteroffensive. They were determined to crush the growing rebellion and reassert their dominance. On the other side, humanity, buoyed by their initial success, was ready to push forward with their campaign. General Sarah Mitchell knew that the momentum gained from the first strike needed to be maintained. The next step was a major offensive, a coordinated attack designed to hit the Council hard and weaken their hold on key territories. The goal was not only to deal further damage, but also to boost morale among human forces and their allies. The plan was bold and risky. The task force aimed to assault multiple Council strongholds simultaneously, creating chaos and stretching their defenses thin. The operation required flawless execution and precise timing. Each strike was to be carried out with the goal of disrupting the Council's ability to respond effectively. In the weeks leading up to the offensive, the coalition forces worked tirelessly to prepare. Among the innovations was a new type of explosive capable of breaching the fortress's most secure sections. The final preparations were meticulous, with every detail scrutinized to ensure success. The night before the attack, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Soldiers, allies, and support staff were all focused on the mission ahead. The sense of unity and purpose was palpable. Each person knew that their actions would determine the outcome of the war. The assault began with a series of precise strikes on the outer defenses of the fortress. Stealth ships, equipped with the latest technology, slipped past enemy sensors and launched their attack. Explosions rocked the fortress as key defensive positions were taken out. The Council's forces, caught off guard by the intensity of the initial strikes, scrambled to mount a defense. As the outer defenses fell, ground troops moved in. The battle was fierce and brutal. The Council's defenders fought with determination, but the coalition forces, driven by months of struggle and the desire for justice, pressed on with unyielding resolve. Each phase of the plan was executed with precision, and the coalition's superior tactics began to make a difference. Inside the fortress, the final confrontation reached its peak. General Mitchell and her elite team fought their way through the corridors, facing heavy resistance. The goal was clear: reach the Central Command Center and confront the Council's leadership. The battle was intense, with every step forward gained at a high cost. In the Command Center, the Council's leaders were desperate. They had underestimated the resolve of humanity and the effectiveness of the Coalition's assault. As General Mitchell and her team breached the Command Center, they were met with fierce resistance from the remaining Council forces. The confrontation was dramatic. The Coalition forces faced the Council's leadership, who were shocked and dismayed by the turn of events. The fight was fierce, but the determination and courage of the human forces proved overwhelming. One by one, the Council's leaders were subdued. With the command center taken and the Council's leadership defeated, the final victory was secured. The fortress was in ruins, and the Galactic Council's ability to wage war was crippled. The war, once dominated by the Council's power, had come to a dramatic and decisive end. As the dust settled, the coalition forces emerged victorious. The realization of their success brought a mix of relief and reflection. The battle had been hard fought, and the cost had been high, but humanity had proven their strength and resilience. They had struck a blow for justice and retribution. The final confrontation marked the end of an era of Galactic Council dominance and the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. The galaxy would remember the courage and determination of those who fought for their future. The peace that followed was hard-won, and the legacy of the conflict served as a reminder of the price of oppression and the strength of unity and resolve.